Hello, I'm Brittany Marshall. On this edition of Commuter Connections, we've got all the details that you need to know about the proposed fall 2021 service changes and how you can comment on them. Plus, construction is underway for the MARC Riverside heavy maintenance facility. Details on how it will impact the future of MARC train service. And it's that time of the year again. The sun is out, and so are the fresh foods at the Baltimore Farmers Markets and Bazaar. And Professor Vern is back. He drops by for a look at how solar energy works and how MDOT/MTA uses it. All here on this edition of Commuter Connections. MDOT/MTA recently released its proposed fall 2021 service changes. These proposed changes include fare policy updates and service adjustments that will match service with ridership demands as Maryland's economy continues to reopen. To tell us more about the proposed changes and public hearings, we're joined by MDOT/MTA's Director of Service Development, Tom Hewitt. Thank you, Tom, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Could you tell us about MDOT/MTA's process and goals for these proposed service changes?
Sure. Well, a little background. We have 3 service changes a year as part of our annual service plan, with major changes occurring each fall, which this proposal covers. Our other 2 changes occur in February and June. The annual service planning process spans over a year and typically covers a lot of the comments that we hear throughout the year, as well as previous proposals that may have not been put into previous proposal packages. This year, though, it was particularly challenging with COVID and the unknowns of ridership and changing travel patterns. So for 2021, we grouped our goals into 3 categories. It includes prioritizing access and equity to the people and places that need transit the most, improving reliability in travel times due to changes in things such as travel patterns, traffic, etc., and then also matching ridership to meet demand, since there have been differences in not only where riders need to go, but when they need to get there. We've seen much of the midday and afternoon ridership higher than, say, our AM peak, which usually balanced that with the PM peak. So it's interesting to see how ridership is kind of balancing out and ways we need to make changes in the upcoming service.
And a huge thing for us at MDOT/MTA is, of course, connecting our riders to job centers and employment centers and having their access to their jobs. Can you tell us how this proposed service change will increase that?
Yeah, well, we look at access to jobs as being, very vital to why we're providing transit service. And, this proposal includes a couple different options. One being, a little bit smaller, but, the service up in Cockeysville area with the local link 93. That was a request that we got, just providing better access to the Super Walmart, the Home Depot, and other businesses up there. So it's a nice little route alignment modification. The big one of the proposal, though, being access to Trade Point Atlantic. This regional job center is providing, thousands of jobs to the region, to the residents of Baltimore City, Baltimore County. So with that, we look to make a proposal that offered to provide additional support. Currently, only the local link 63 provides service to Trade Point. So this proposal modifies the local link 63 slightly to provide better access to East Baltimore City and County, but it also provides a brand new service, an express bus link 163, which will provide express one-seat ride service between West Baltimore MARC, downtown, and Trade Point Atlantic. We're really excited about this proposed service because not only is it a one-seat ride downtown, but in some instances, it may be 20 minutes faster than current travel options between West Baltimore MARC Station and Trade Point Atlantic.
Sounds like definitely an exciting opportunity. Thank you for that. And could you tell me more about some of the discontinued routes that will possibly be in these proposed service changes?
Yeah, I mean, we look at the efficiency of service all the time. And one of the routes that we looked at, and this was pre-pandemic, was the 164. This is an express route, is very, very low ridership, and the service is largely duplicated by other existing services that will remain, such as the CityLink Silver or the Local Link 67. So one, traveling from downtown to get to Curtis Bay, for example, can still use the CityLink Silver or the 67, or somebody traveling down to Energy Parkway can still take the local link 67, even though the 164 is proposed to be discontinued. The other service we're looking to discontinue is the pilot branch of the CityLink Yellow. This was service to Relay, which provides service to the Guinness facility there. This was a pilot that started about a year and a half ago, and the COVID pandemic really threw that pilot for a loop. So this is just the option that we're taking on discontinuing that service because it didn't pan out as we expected.
But there's some great news. The express bus service is coming back. Explain to me which routes are going to be coming back.
Yeah, we when the pandemic really first hit, we saw a really drastic decline in express bus link ridership. So when we discontinued the service back in April, we were carefully looking at ridership patterns through the entire system. Now that the vaccine is being more distributed more frequently and we're getting back to this new normal, we want to make sure that we're matching the ridership demand with the service we're putting out. So we're proposing to bring back all of the express service except for the 164 with the fall service change.
And something, of course, that all of our riders want to know about, some fare policy updates. Explain to me what those will be through the proposed changes.
Sure. A way of getting our riders back on the bus, folks that, may be a little hesitant or folks that may not be going into the office as much now that people are working from home. We're providing different fare options for our riders. So using our Charm Pass mobile ticketing app with the fall service change can purchase a 3-day or a 10-day pass. So this is in addition to our other suite of fare products. So this gives people the option if they need to go into the office a few days a week or a few days a week each month, they can purchase these different options. Also important is the elimination of the express bus link surcharge. So, when the service was running, riders were required to pay an extra 60-cent surcharge on top of their existing fare. But with the fall service change proposal and these fare changes, we're proposing to eliminate that surcharge on express service.
And a huge part of the service planning process is the public comment period. Tell us more how that works and how riders and residents can have their voices heard.
Sure. Like I said, we always, we love getting comments throughout the year, but especially important when we put out a proposal because it's very specific to goals that we're trying to achieve. And this public comment period is a time for us to receive and analyze feedback on the proposal. And it's especially important with this proposal because we're providing riders with different options for these new routes. So for example, the 63, there's 3 different options to travel up to Northeast Baltimore. And we want to hear back from riders as to what option they feel is best for them. With the proposed Express Bus Link 163, there are 2 options, in the port area, whether it's the service using Dundalk Ave or Browing Highway. So again, we want to hear back from riders and try to get their opinions on, where the service specifically needs to go and show that, there are a lot of options with service planning and we'd love to hear from the riders. We're going to be using that feedback and when we make any final tweaks to the plan and the final proposed changes will be available in July.
And what are some of our riders' options to have their voices heard? I know that the public hearings are one of them.
Sure. Anyone can attend one of our virtual public hearings that are going to be starting in May, starting in Saturday, May 22nd, Monday, May 24th, with 2 options on the 24th, as well as another virtual hearing on Tuesday, May 25th. We will also be accepting comments up to midnight on June 25th.
And of course, all of this information that we're talking about today is on our website. Can you give us the exact location of where people can find exactly just the information on the proposed service changes?
Sure. It's great because when people go to our website, it's right on our banner. But the website is www.mta.maryland.gov. Folks can also call in 410-539-5000 for additional information. And we will be providing public announcements and public notification on board all of our vehicles to notify riders of these proposed changes as well.
Well, thank you so much, Tom, for being with us, breaking down all the information on these proposed service changes. We appreciate it.
Great. Thanks for having me.
The MARC Riverside Heavy Maintenance Facility is officially under construction. This new facility will allow MARC Train to maintain and repair its own locomotives and build a strong foundation for transit infrastructure projects along the Northeast Corridor. To commemorate the start of construction, Governor Larry Hogan demolished the last remaining building on the construction site. Take a look.
Today marks the beginning of the end for the building behind me, as we tear it down to make way for the future of Mark Train.
So what today's groundbreaking is all about. It's about the launch of this new Riverside heavy maintenance facility as a key part of our commitment to a state of good repair for all of our transportation systems. With this new building, Mark Train efficiency can slip into high gear.
Once complete, the Riverside heavy maintenance facility will be an important part of modernizing Maryland's Mark Train system to make it more efficient and more cost effective. This 35,000 square foot building with 3 tracks will include a 30-ton overhead crane, drop table, retractable fall protection system, and wheel true machine, and it will provide us with 4 maintenance slots for locomotives undergoing heavy maintenance and repair.
And now for the event we've all come to see. Governor Hogan will personally lead off the demolition process by climbing into the excavator you see behind us and start the process of tearing down building number 6 to make way for the future.
I'm pleased that Maryland is continuing to set an example in so many ways on infrastructure, including with today's groundbreaking.
To tell us more about the new facility and how it will impact the future of Mark Train, we're joined by Mark Train's director, Dean Del Pescio. Dean, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Could you tell me exactly why is this new facility so important and needed for Mark Train?
Absolutely. So we have a main shop building in Riverside right now where we perform diesel locomotive maintenance. And that was designed around 1983 for a locomotive fleet of 20 to 25 locomotives. And then over the last 30 plus years, we've increased our diesel locomotive fleet to 42 locomotives, and we're sort of out of space. So we need a new building to fully meet our maintenance needs.
And like you just said, how many locomotives are currently receiving maintenance now at the facility, and how will it change?
So right now we have 42 diesel locomotives. We'll be maintaining those locomotives in our new building and our existing main shop building. Right now at our main shop building, we do preventative maintenance, federally required periodic inspections, and running and heavy repairs. And heavy repairs such as an engine replacement or removing a large component from the locomotive has to be done with a mobile crane that we have to lease or rent and do it outside. And that's operationally challenging and costly.
And tell me about this new facility then. You said it will reduce costs. It will improve, of course, our ability to maintain and repair our equipment. Tell us a little more about it.
Our new Riverside heavy maintenance building will be able to accommodate 4 locomotives at once at any one time. It will include a 30-ton overhead crane with a 10-ton auxiliary hoist, basically a 30-ton crane plus another 10-ton crane with it, a wheel true machine, and a drop table, which will be our first wheel true machine and a much larger drop table than we currently have, and it will also be our first overhead crane of that capacity at any of our facilities.
And kind of how you explained before and how it worked before and how it will work in the future, but how will this help free up space for us?
Our main shop building will now be used to focus on federally required periodic inspections and preventative maintenance. And then all of the heavy repairs will be moved to our new heavy maintenance building. And that will allow us to streamline our inspections and PMs in the main shop building. We'll get operational flexibility by reducing downtime of maintaining our locomotives. And then anything that needs a heavy repair will be able to go to the new building, and it will save us time overall.
So how was it to have the governor out there to commemorate the start of construction for this new facility, as well as the Secretary of Transportation?
It was very exciting. We're very appreciative that they both came out for this great project and helped us kick it off. It was fun seeing the governor in the excavator starting to tear down the small existing building that got torn down to make way for greater and better things.
The future of Mark Train, of course.
The future of Mark Train, that's right.
And tell me how long this construction is going to last, and when will this building be fully operational?
Sure. So pre-construction and demolition started in late January 2021. The actual heavy construction will last about 18 months, and then our new building will become fully operational sometime in the third or fourth quarter of 2022.
So where can people find more information about the building and just updates on construction so they'll be as excited as we are when it's fully operational?
So we'll be providing periodic updates at our monthly Mark Riders Advisory Council meetings, and details on those meetings can be found on the M.MTA website. If you search for Mark Riders Advisory Council, it should be the first link on any search engine.
Well, thank you so much, Dean, for joining us. We really appreciate it. Very excited about this new building that will definitely impact the future of Mark Train and for its riders.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too. The weather is finally warming up, and that means the Baltimore Farmers Market and Bazaar is officially open. We'll take you there next. It's that time of the year again. The Baltimore Farmers Market and Bazaar is officially open, offering some of the best fresh food supply in our region. We talked to Sam Hansen with the Baltimore Office of Promotion and the Arts to tell us more about this season's offerings. Sam, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Brittany, thank you so much for having me.
So how does it feel to officially open the Farmers Market and Bazaar on time this year?
It feels great. It was a long winter for everyone, so folks, both our customers and our vendors, we're all just ready to be back at market.
And could you tell me, what can people expect to see when they get there?
This year, you're going to find all of the classics within our three categories of bazaar, food vendors, and farm vendors. We've got hot, ready-to-eat food. We've got coffee. We've got all the produce you could need, as well as handmade crafts.
And name some of those classics for those who have never been there.
Probably the mushroom fritters from the mushroom stand, the best fish on the planet from Conscious Caterers. Within the farm category, people go crazy for the shelled peas from McCarthy Farm.
And you talk about people going crazy. How was the first weekend? How was the start of all of this so far?
Yeah, so we started on April 4th this year, which was Easter. And the turnout was really nice. Folks were enjoying the good Easter weather and seeing some of their friends that they might not have seen for a while now. And the food was hot and fresh, and folks were ready to eat it.
And this Farmers Market and Bazaar, it's a staple in Baltimore. So tell us how long it's been around and a little bit of its history.
So this year is our 44th year, and that means we launched back in 77 under William Donald Schaefer. And back then it was at the old fish market. And since then it's moved around a couple times and really settled underneath the Jones Falls Expressway where we are now.
And coming into 2021 this season, how many vendors do you all have and anything unique?
Yeah, definitely. So this year we have about 90 different vendors, which is still a reduced capacity from what we can really have. But within those, there's some really great items and categories of vendors. There's no pets allowed at the market, but we do have a good amount of products for pets. We've got all the seasonal produce that you could need, including some stuff that's really hard to find elsewhere, stuff like from our mushroom stand where they're getting ramps and morel mushrooms and just stuff that there's only a brief window where you can even get it.
And you talk about reduced capacity. Of course, that's due to the COVID-19 health emergency. Could you tell us a little bit about just some of the safety protocols that are in place?
Absolutely. For all of our vendors, customers, and staff, everyone has to wear a mask for the entirety of the market. We've also brought in additional security to make sure folks are wearing their masks and to monitor the crowd levels at the market. And in addition to that, we've brought in sanitation and hand washing stations.
Could you tell me exactly where you all located? Where can people find you and the times when you all are open?
Sure. So you're going to find the Baltimore Farmers Market and Bazaar underneath the Jones Falls Expressway. That's at the corner of Holiday and Saratoga Street. And we run every Sunday from 7 a.m. to noon. And our season this year is from April 4th to December 19th.
Sounds like a fun time. How can we get there on transit?
Oh, so we've got a bunch of different options for getting down to the market. For folks on public transit, there's a metro stop at the Charles Center that's walkable to the market. Also, the 80 and the 56, the blue, the yellow, and the green all stop right by the market. And for those with vehicles, there's plenty of parking courtesy of Mercy Hospital at their Bunting garage. And the folks also will take scooters down to the market.
So many options.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse if you want some fresh fruit and produce. No excuses on how to get there. There's a way.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much, Sam, for talking with us. We truly appreciate it. And where can people find more information if they just can't remember how to get there or want to find more?
Yeah. So you can check out our website through the Baltimore Office of Promotion in the Arts. We also have a Facebook and a Twitter.
Well, thank you so much, Sam. Good luck with this season.
Thanks, Brittany.
Coming up next, Professor Vern joins us to tell us how solar energy works. Stay with us. It's time for Professor Vern, our eccentric but knowledgeable go-to person for all things scientific and technical in transportation. On this edition, Professor Vern shows us how solar energy works and how it's used at MDOT NTA.
Hi, Professor Vern. So, what are you working on today? And thanks for the cool NASA pencil you sent me.
You're welcome, Administrator. I'm testing a device that can reduce objects to 1/12 size to save on shipping and storage. See here what happens when I point the device at this laser pistol.
Wow, that's wild. But I'm not going to ask what we need laser pistols for.
Administrator, check out Robot's Robo-Solar Cycle.
That's amazing. In fact, I want to discuss how MTA uses solar energy.
Excellent. Now, solar energy is harnessed by solar panels that are made up of solar cells. Each cell generates about a half a volt when struck by light photons. The larger the solar panel, the more solar cells, and the greater the output voltage. Now, in typical installations, solar panels are combined together to achieve the energy level required by whatever we need to power.
So, what are they made from, Professor Vern?
Solar cells, also known as photovoltaic materials, are made of silicon, the same material used to make transistors, integrated circuits, microprocessors, and, well, robot.
I'm not just a pile of transistors.
Settle down, robot, you egotistical extended memory. Now, as I was saying, I have a mock-up to demonstrate the basic parts of a solar system.
Let's see it.
Administrator, see here the basic parts of a solar energy system, including a solar panel and an inverter.
So, what's the inverter do?
Great question, Administrator. Solar panels produce DC voltage, so the inverter is needed to change the DC into AC voltage, which is needed by most things we want to power, like a house. Now, I will demonstrate that when I shine a bright light on the solar panel, that it produces electricity that powers my flight control panel. I'm going to use the glowing fuel rods from my mini nuclear generator as our bright light source.
Hey, didn't that thing almost melt down the last time you used it?
Oh, it's fine now, I think. Activating glowing fuel rods. Flight control panel has solar power.
So that's great, but when the sun goes down, aren't we left without power?
Ah, great point, Administrator. There are times when we need the solar system to work at night, such as when lighting a bus shelter. If we add a battery and a charging regulator to our solar system, then the battery will be charged during periods of sunlight, and then it will provide power at nighttime or when it's cloudy. I'll demonstrate how this works. See here that I've now added a battery and a charge regulator to our solar system. Now I'll simulate nighttime by turning off our bright light source to see that our flight control panel still is powered. I'm now going to turn off the bright light source and see that our flight control panel still has power supplied by the battery.
That's cool. So what does the regulator do?
It's similar to the voltage regulator in your car. It controls the charge that's applied to the battery so the battery doesn't get overcharged.
Professor Verne, where do we use solar panels at MTA?
MTA has an array of thin film solar panels on the Northwest Bus Maintenance Facility. And they generate over 500,000 watts of energy and have saved MTA over $800,000 in energy costs.
That's awesome. So what are thin film solar panels?
Thin film solar panels are thin layers of photovoltaic material that are deposited on lightweight materials such as plastic. Now, traditional solar panels use glass, which would be much too heavy for the Northwest Bus application. See here, I have a sample of a thin film solar panel.
That's excellent. I seem to have lost my NASA pencil, but anyway, are we using solar panels to power anything else?
In fact, we are installing solar-powered bus shelters, and I think you would enjoy a tour to see a solar-powered bus shelter.
I most certainly would.
10-4, Administrator. Hey, would you like me to shrink anything down in your office?
No thanks. I'm still looking for my pencil. Just message me when you're there.
Administrator, I've asked Deputy Director of Facilities and Support Services, Mark Burkhart, to show us a solar-powered shelter.
Hi, Mark. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Mr. Quinn.
Robot was supposed to join us here. Here he comes now.
What the? Robot? Anyway, Mark, where are the solar panels?
And the solar panels are located up on the roof, which provide power to light up the shelter at night.
Very cool, Mark. So how many of these solar shelters are we installing?
We're installing dozens of these throughout our service area.
Wow, that's awesome. Thanks so much for showing me this.
Professor Verne, your machine shrunk me. I order you to restore me to normal immediately.
That'll take a while, Administrator. I haven't got the enlarging part working yet.
I'm not gonna forget this, Professor Verne. Well, at least I found my pencil.
In closing, we want to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of our M.MTA employees who are recognized as our superstars. We thank them for their exceptional work as our frontline employees. Congratulations to you all. That ends another edition of Commuter Connections. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.